Hello, and welcome to OnLogic Live. My name is Patrick Metzger with OnLogic, and today I have the pleasure of being joined by two of our amazing partners, Amazon Web Services and EdgeIQ. And today we're talking about the EdgeIQ IoT orchestration solution, powered in the cloud by Amazon Web Services and powered at the edge by OnLogic hardware. So first we have Scott Cranton with EdgeIQ. Thank you for joining us, Scott. Could you please give us a brief introduction and tell us what you do at EdgeIQ?
Thanks, Patrick. Thanks for having us here. I run customer success at EdgeIQ, which means I help our customers evaluate solution options all the way through getting into production safely.
Awesome. Well, it's a real pleasure to have you here today, Scott. Thank you for joining us. I also have the great pleasure of introducing you to Joseph Zoliker from Amazon Web Services. So Joseph, if you could give us a little rundown of what you do with AWS and where you're joining us from today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Patrick. And thank you, Scott, for the time being here with you guys today. So my role at AWS is I'm the principal IoT segment lead for the Americas. In that capacity, I work with our differentiated partners like EdgeIQ, like OnLogic, who leverage AWS IoT services to help our customers solve most complex digital transformation problems. Patrick, to you and the OnLogic team, thanks for hosting us today. Really appreciate you having us on.
Hey, we couldn't be happier to have the two of you with us today. So I have a few questions ready to go for Scott and Joseph, but we also want you to kick in your questions into the comments. So please take that opportunity to ask your own questions, and we'll cover those in a few minutes. You can also join the conversation on Twitter via the hashtag OnLogicLive. And of course, you can always chat with the OnLogic team and find out more about how we're working with Scott and Joseph and the AWS and EdgeIQ team by visiting onlogic.com. Okay, so to kick things off, Scott, spotlight's on you. Can you provide our audience with a quick overview of EdgeIQ and its role in the IoT landscape?
Sure. EdgeIQ is a software provider. We help connected product companies take their products or create new offerings or subscription offerings for their customers that they can sell and get greater engagement with their customers as they're kind of transforming into the market. This includes capabilities, for EdgeIQ, we provide capabilities like device lifecycle management, service data orchestration, device monitoring, things like that to help customers solve their problems.
Well, thank you, Scott. I think that's really the biggest goal of this today is to talk about how we help people solve problems. We've got a lot of folks out there, a lot of people who are looking for business solutions, and we help make those possible here. So EdgeIQ, Amazon Web Services, and OnLogic, our product and technology teams have been working on this for a while. So we've developed this solution to ensure that you have a seamless experience out of the box with all three of our solutions in one place. So Scott, we have some real world solutions out there. We're starting to develop and starting to deploy. Could you give us an example of one of those?
Yeah, so one of a customer that we're all working with is a healthcare solution provider. So their origin story, if you will, is they originally had a set of devices that had cameras and microphones and others, excuse me, that were deployed in hospitals, all on premise, and the hospital staff would on the same facility would use those devices to remotely monitor patients so that particularly in these environments, now they don't have to go into the rooms, they don't have to suit up in protective equipment to deal with patients, so that they can still provide a lot of care and interaction with their patients, but without having to go into rooms and deal with all of the particular situations of that. So they wanted to take that really great solution and then bring that to the cloud to enable new capabilities. Things like allowing remote family members to actually use that as kind of like a video conferencing capability with the nurse's approval to interact with the patients as well. They also wanted to take advantage of a lot of machine learning capabilities to provide augmented capabilities as well. So what they did is they worked with all three of us to bring that solution from a purely on-premise to cloud. So they took OnLogic devices, deployed those as rugged gateways into hospital environments, scattered about the hospital, connected to these existing devices that were there. They took that data, uploaded it to Amazon, so that they could do additional machine learning capabilities either in the cloud and on the edge OnLogic gateway devices, and then also build out web applications to allow family members to interact with that. And then they used Edge IQ to help manage the sort of data and service orchestration across that whole environment, as well as remotely manage the OnLogic gateways, as well as all of their existing hospital carts. So it's a great solution. They've seen a lot of value out of that going forward.
Yeah, that's incredibly important, especially in times like this, the ability for folks to just be able to visit people in the hospital remotely and keep everyone safe is just a huge priority right now. Yeah. And Joseph, how does AWS really fold into this and help augment that solution once we got them connected to the cloud?
Oh. You're muted, Joseph.
It's bound to happen. We're live.
Yeah. I must have moved my mouse.
You did sound muted, Joseph.
I did. I'm certain of it. Thank you very much. But hey, Scott, great overview and highlighting, again, how customers, both brownfield and greenfield, can really kind of leverage, what has been built between the three companies to really manage their fleets of devices, monitor them remotely, and really provide a true zero touch, setup, and deployment, along with the service orchestration in terms of making sure that over-the-air updates, applications, patches, security stuff can all be taken care of, for the full life cycle of those devices itself. AWS IoT does offer a set of managed services and software for organizations to easily kind of create IoT solutions that can really, create those operational efficiencies and net new revenue streams. At the end of the day, being very, very customer obsessed is how do we help our customers kind of, maybe migrate from being a product-centric company to a services, centric company, or how can they actually derive new business insights to drive the new customer experience? So that's some of the things that we see that we're working on collectively together here.
Yeah, and it really, when you get that connected solution, that's something we've talked a lot about over our dry runs and everything else and just our chats, which is that connected solution is what allows for the real magic to happen. Allows it to come out of the box and give you that full solution and get you connected and get the data where you need it so that those doctors and those nurses can help more people and they can help them more effectively. So it's a beautiful thing when it all comes together. And our part in that was really this solution was calling for a small computer, a small fanless computer, something that we could connect to 4G so that we would be able to make sure that we're always connected and always able to service that. And the Wi-Fi expansion capabilities, the fanless design, all of that really comes into play. And by removing the fan, we also remove a point of failure, because anytime you have one of those moving parts and you have that environment coming inside of the computer, you're going to have more of those failure points inherently. So this really increases the reliability of this machine as well in those critical phases. And really, I like to think about the fanless design kind of like all of us wearing a mask these days. So unnecessary movement of air, keeping us all healthy. These devices really can help that with the fanless design, just kind of in their own way by not moving that and recirculating that air in a medical environment. So this was housed indoors, and it was really in one of those environments where that real ruggedization really doesn't come in, because it's really going to be kept. The temperature range is going to be controlled. The variability of power input is going to be controlled pretty well. But today we were talking earlier about a much more challenging environment in a remote location. Scott, to put you on the spot again, could you bring forward and let us know what was that we were chatting, and bring the audience into that? Yeah,
no. So you both made great points about like the zero touch provisioning and things like that. So we were talking also about a telecommunications distribution company. So they too were looking to transition to being more of a services company versus just shipping units out there. They're servicing a lot of cell tower equipment providers. So they've got cell towers located out in very remote locations and all kinds of different environments, hot and cold. So they needed an ability, or what they wanted to expand their business into doing was not just selling the equipment to these cell tower service providers. They also wanted to provide an additional service to them to monitor all of the devices to provide a better quality of service for them. So for that, it involved a couple of things. So the idea of zero-touch provisioning. So then now they could ship out OnLogic gateways to these cell towers, connect them to the existing machines that are out there, devices that are out there, and start to monitor them. A benefit that they realized is that this mitigated what the industry talks about as truck rolls. So the idea of needing to send a technician out anytime something goes wrong to go diagnose what's going on in that environment and fix it. And of course, the challenge is anytime somebody goes out to do that, the industry average, they talk about that being like $100 to $100 per incident that a person has to go out there. And if the more remote the location is, the more expensive that can be.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
No, it's not cheap. And never mind the fact that, if they go out there and they don't have the right equipment, they got to go back and do it again. This adds delay. This lowers the quality that they're providing. That impacts their end customers. So there's a lot of follow-on effects. So if they do all of this remote, so they have the OnLogic gateway, it's rock solid out there managing it, so they don't have to worry about that. They can leverage Amazon services to provide greater interactions and customer interactions, the end customers' interactions with it. And again, Edge IQ to help monitor and manage those environments so that they can see what devices are maybe having issues and make sure they have the right equipment. They can also do preventative maintenance so that when they do send a technician out, they can see what other devices are trending towards failure and replace them at the same time when they have a visit. So that can lower their costs and provide much greater satisfaction for their customers because they're on top of it all and they're making sure they're keeping all the SLAs up and running. So it's a great example.
That is a great example. And in our world, that's really where Carbon 300 comes in. So, or something like it, one of our ruggedized systems. So when you're looking for something that can take those variations that exist in the natural world, and you're looking at how those wide temperature ranges, those wide power variations, maybe some shock and impact resistance comes in, and you realize that you really need something that's going to avoid those truck rolls to begin with as well, while it monitors those other devices. That's really where this bad boy comes in. So even before the truck rolls as well, we were talking earlier, we help through this solution by shipping these devices in what's known as escrow state. So I like to think of it as kind of like Bluetooth pairing. So the old way, what you'd have to do is you'd have to go ahead and we'd ship these out to you, or someone else would ship out a device to you. You would talk to their sales team. You would get a quote. You'd go through that process. They would ship that device to you, to your location. You'd have to warehouse that device. Then you have to take the time of your OT and your IT team to really install all the necessary hardware, toss that back in the box, put another label on it, send it out to the end install location, and then have it really be installed. And Scott, to your point, every one of those pieces costs money, whether in space or with time or with an effort. And what we do is you go into onlogic.com and you pick out one of our Edge IQ ready devices and you configure it right there on the website, or you talk with one of our salespeople to configure this for you. And then we ship it right to the end install location. So we ship it out to that cell tower. And then you just have a one truck roll so that that guy goes out there, he installs this, that individual, that technician goes out there, installs it, and we make sure that it is up and running. And the Edge IQ software allows you through that single pane of glass to then reach out and connect that device into the Edge IQ environment, connect it through AWS to the cloud, and get it up and running remotely, minimizing your costs. So we also provide cellular connectivity options. Funny, we're talking about cell towers. So you can really get this out into some places that traditionally IT has had challenges with. And that's why we built it. So Joseph, to jump into that cloud, to jump into that connection, what happens once that remote configuration happens and they use that container to install AWS? Can you really tell us where AWS picks up from there and from the vision that Scott laid out?
Yeah, certainly. And clearly the audience can see in terms of the types of industries that this is all applicable to. Anybody who is actually, shipping or as looking to remotely monitor fleets of devices, irregardless of the of the industry you're in, this technology that has been created, this solution that has been created is applicable. The things that AWS really provides at the end of the day when we look at this, and as I see it, all of these sorts of industry use cases are fundamentally simple, where you have this endpoint edge device connected to possibly to a gateway to the cloud and doing stuff up in the cloud itself. But AWS is providing really that simple and secure connectivity to the AWS cloud, like making sure that device that connects has the right credentials, the right certificates, running TLS 1.2 encryption on it, to be very, very secure. As we look at edge compute and machine learning, it's enabled with Greengrass, again, which allows customers to analyze and act on that data, both at the edge and at the cloud, depending upon their particular business use case, right? And in both customers' examples, we're seeing here how customers are deriving really new business insights, which improve not only operational efficiency, as Scott talked about, in terms of saving costs, truck rolls, remote management, predictive maintenance, those sorts of things, but also an enriched customer experience. I mean, the example, and the angel eyes, if you will, to use that term, in the healthcare example is definitely one there. So, at the end of the day, right? So, I mean, this is some of the stuff that we provide. And again, AWS has a wealth of services to help customers, not only on the edge and all the way into the cloud.
That's excellent. And EdgeIQ really returns the favor in this respect as well, making it easy and really complementing the AWS IoT Greengrass solution. Scott, could you walk us through how EdgeIQ really enables that ease within AWS as well?
Yeah, sure. So all of these technologies, are very complementary to each other. And whoops.
Again, we're live.
We're live, and it's like a live demo.
He's getting orders. Orders are being placed right now.
Call now.
Call right now.
We've got agents waiting. All of these solutions.
I got one coming in. Sorry.
All these solutions are hard to get back on track now. What Joseph said, the idea of secure connectivity. So when a couple of ways that EdgeIQ works really closely with Amazon is one, we can help make sure that both the edge the edge device has things like Greengrass set up correctly with all of the environments as part of that zero touch provisioning, and that it's connected to the right Amazon account. Particularly the customers we're dealing with they're selling to multiple customers themselves. So they want to make sure the data gets routed to the right locations and that they can take advantage of all the right services in a very secure kind of multi-tenant fashion. So that's one area we help with. We also help, and this is kind of what this diagram shows, as an API first approach. So when our customers like these healthcare providers or the telecommunications distributors are building out solutions, they need APIs so that they can build their own application on top of it with their own workflow and integrate with their existing systems so that they control all aspects of this and really make it their own environment. So they can route the data to where they want it to be. They can do whatever analysis they want. They can do whatever web presentation they want on the environment and not feel constrained by any one of our components in this, so that they can provide a super high quality environment. And that's the idea of this sort of API first, very granular approach to all of this.
Excellent. And Joseph, is there a point there as well with how that helps just keep AWS connected? And to Scott's point around making sure that we've got those pieces of interconnection to make that environment their own. How does AWS really help to make that happen?
Yeah, at the end of the day, right, I mean, as we talked about earlier, right, services all the way from the edge into the cloud. And at the end of the day, as customers are, collecting that information, storing the data, acting upon the data, the services are there. The whole notion of service orchestration, and you've heard us use that term before, is to really help customers orchestrate the use of those services, today as well as in the future, and make it very, very easy to upload a new version of Greengrass to be able to manage that service, AI, ML, and any future services that customers may want to use moving forward.
Excellent. And yeah, again, for us at OnLogic, we come in at that location, right? We come in where all that interconnectivity has to happen. To Scott's earlier point about not only thinking about this as the device, on its own to thinking about how it connects in with all of the other sensors and items that you have is really helpful in giving you an idea of how it all really comes together in a blanket solution. So you need hardware really that you can depend on, and we really pride ourselves in building the ideal hardware solution for this type of environment. So we want to make sure that your AWS and your Edge IQ instances, the deployment works reliably out of the box and just for years to come. So all of our PCs, you're seeing some of these beautiful shots of them spinning around right now. They're all built to order and shipped in days. So you can configure those on onlogic.com. So if you need an internal 4G modem to stay connected, or you need serial ports for your legacy devices, we're here to help. And so we build those, we ship them in days. They arrive to that location with Edge IQ installed to just review our previous chat, so that you can minimize those truck rolls, you can minimize those installation costs, and really get down to solving the problem that you wanted to solve. So we make it possible here. We like to say that a lot because it's true. So with that, I think we're in a great place to switch over to some questions. So we're going to start with a few we've collected from conversations we've been having with customers since we launched our partnership with Edge IQ. And for those of you watching live, please, there is still time to chat the questions in, add comments. We've got people in the wings who are going to be sending those over to us, and we'll be happy to cover each and every one of them. So to kick this off, a question that I hear from our salespeople all the time is, what resources are available to start my deployment? I've covered a couple of those just now. You can reach out to us at onlogic.com. Our friendly sales folks will be happy to help you. They can connect via chat, email, call, or you can build, configure, and order right online. But actually, we've got a really great opportunity today with Joseph here. Joseph, could you outline something that we have as a special offer for folks that are seeing this as a perfect solution for them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, things that, we really look at is how do we help our customers really accelerate their journey, get their devices connected, create the operational efficiencies that have been promised in IoT, help create new services and, customer satisfaction. So one of the things that, as part of this collaboration here is really, if we want, if an organization really wants help to kind of understand like the full value of edge computing and what it can bring to your organization, we're here to help you in terms of creating a best-in-class solution. So what we will do is, I'll phrase it as a jumpstart or maybe a consulting sort of an offer where collectively with our partners, we'll help you ideate, develop and deploy a solution that demonstrates proof of value, leveraging the solution that has kind of built it together, here for a limited time. To kind of adds to, how would I say, to sweeten the deal, that we have is that OnLogic and AWS, through this are going to go ahead and offer AWS credits to you for the first 1,000 devices connected to AWS IoT Core at no cost for 6 months. So the beautiful thing is that you would actually get access to, both solutions architects, technical sales engineers, to really help you ideate on the business side as well as the technical aspects. And then the kicker to this, of course, is, hey, if you're looking to kind of get these up and running, we're going to provide you some credits and free use of services such as Greengrass moving forward. So it's an awesome way to get started.
Awesome. And with that, those folks can reach out. Our sales team here knows about all of the details around that, and they can help you work that through, or you can reach out to Edge IQ or AWS, Joseph. Yeah. And we have the details. We were here to help, and we want to make sure that you're getting that offer, if that makes sense for you. So another question has come in. I'm an existing OnLogic customer. Can I easily retrofit my deployment devices to take advantage of the device lifecycle management, service orchestration, and edge compute to derive new business insights and to help me manage my growing fleet of devices? Absolutely. That's why we're here. Our joint solution can enable any brownfield deployment and take advantage of those new services. So we have really developed these machines to work together harmoniously with the software and the cloud solutions we talked about today. So we'd be happy to help you connect in those older devices, maybe some legacy devices. We talked about the COM ports earlier, and really it kind of adds that smart layer to some devices that maybe aren't in that state today.
Yeah, one thing I would add, with respect to that, especially there is a lot of brownfield deployments that are out there. If you do want to create, again, new operational efficiencies, as Scott had talked about earlier, being able to do predictive maintenance, on devices at the edge, look at the life cycle management. You may have had a early how would I say, an early stage, maybe device management platform that doesn't scale to meet your growth that you've been seeing. And this is an ideal opportunity to go ahead and again talk to us in terms of how we can help you. Again, creating new service opportunities that you may be able to in turn help drive additional revenues. This is all the stuff from the customer perspective that we can kind of help you and drive forward. So brownfield customers are welcome, greenfield customers as well.
Everyone is welcome.
Absolutely.
Excellent. And I have another question coming through. Just to clarify, so I do have an existing environment with many devices, and I want to get them connected. How can this solution help here? Who wants to take that? Scott, Joseph?
I can talk to it. I mean, the two use cases we talked about earlier are great examples of that point. So they already had existing equipment out there, and they were looking to allow remote access and management of those existing devices. And in some cases, maybe they already had OnLogic devices there. In some cases, they added those in as secure gateways to the local area network that all those devices already resided on. So it's a very, very common use case to add access, secure access to existing sets of devices that need remote management monitoring, that you want to start tapping into the data to do new machine learning offerings and advantages. Very, very common scenario, something we do all the time and help customers with kind of pre-built out solutions to really help make it quick and efficient to get going.
Excellent. Joseph, do you have anything to add?
No, I would echo what what Scott is saying here, right? I mean, it's at the end of the day, right? I mean, we look at the beautiful thing with what I would say with the solution that has kind of been built on together is that the Edge IQ with the AWS service enablement, we are very much agnostic from a device capabilities. We certainly understand that customers have various assets that are connected. Some are IP based, some are non-IP based, and they want that ability to go ahead and manage those. The Edge IQ AWS OnLogic solution, does this in spades. So it's again, for anybody that has existing devices, older legacy, shouldn't be fearful that maybe we cannot help them and bring new capabilities to those brownfield devices.
Excellent. And we're gonna end with one final question here today. So we've outlined some really just amazing solutions here today that, like, a couple of years ago, this would have been the stuff of the future. This would be stuff that you'd see in science fiction, with the ability to connect and really use that data to help people solve their problems. Where do you guys see IoT coming in the future? So in, I would say, a few years, where do you see the IoT landscape moving to?
Scott?
Yeah.
In
the rehearsals, I wanted to throw it around and you answer first, Joseph.
Okay. I certainly can if you'd like me to, Scott. Yeah. Go ahead, please. No, please.
It's funny. I think what I see happening is we've already seen the first wave of a lot of connected devices coming out into the market from specific vendors. And what I think is starting to happen is new standards are coming into place, and some level of minimal government regulation that's happening to make consumers feel more comfortable about the data privacy and other concerns around that. So I think as that starts to settle in over the next couple of years, we're going to start to see a secondary market of services coming in where people will be able to connect lots of different devices together and provide new higher level services on top of that. And I think that's going to get really exciting. And I think that's where we're going to see a lot of attention and activity happening over the next few years. Go ahead, Joseph. Now you can.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And some of the areas that I see, and one of the things I think we can highlight here is the whole notion of managing devices at scale, at the edge. We're all familiar with our phones and how easy and seamless updating apps is. We see the badge, we click the button, things just happen automatically. But again, doing this at the North Slope of Alaska or in the desert of the UAE becomes more difficult. There's no user interface. There's nobody to recover this. So I think kind of seeing managing these massive fleets at scale as more stuff kind of gets out there. I think the promise of AI ML, as much as it's talked about through the analysts, is still just very picking up steam. and it still requires data scientists and subject matter experts. I hope that as we look in the coming years, that becomes a little bit more mainstream and really becomes accessible to the masses to really be able to use this data collection in terms of driving all these new customer services and business process efficiencies. So those are a few things that I kind of see I hope we certainly see evolving moving forward.
Amazing. Well, we're just about at time. So I wanted to take this opportunity to say really thank you, Scott. Thank you, Joseph, for joining us today. It's been our pleasure to have you.
Welcome. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Excellent. So
bye, Patrick.
Excellent. And Joseph, you couldn't have set me up better for this because I'm holding one of our K300s when you talk about those environments out in Alaska or out there in the wilderness. And if you have an IoT project and you're looking to easily manage your entire deployment of devices, or you have questions really about what hardware we can best help you with, we want you to reach out to us. So you can connect with us by visiting onlogic.com or via the contact information that's about to be on the screen. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate having you, and we'll see you next time.
Take care. Thanks.